Streaming.
and bringing you live and interactive fun right here on the Vuga Breakfast Show. So right about now, because it's happened on an instant, right?
Live news.
Live news right here, man. This
I
is
love
the beauty
it,
of it.
Faz.
So I'm going to give you an opportunity so that you can tell us. Oh, there we go. I'm assuming this is Kelly, right?
Yes.
There we go. There we go. So you're wondering, who Kelly Eyre? Okay, you see what I meant? Because I'm very, very wary when it comes to, pronunciations of people's names. She is a prodigy lead of Dibber International South Africa. Kelly holds an honors degree in counseling psychology and a PGCE in foundation phase teaching and a certification in sports psychology with extensive experience working with children across various schools as a mother and of two boys, and one of whom is on the autism spectrum. Right, very cool stuff. Kelly combines personal and professional insights into education and neurodiversity, from inclusive learning to mental health advocacy. Kelly's passion for creating supportive, empowering environments shines through in everything she does. Let's welcome Kelly to the show. Welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome,
Thank you so
welcome.
much
We
for having
appreciate
me.
you guys. We appreciate you taking the time.
Thank you
Because we
for
know
having
that you guys right here at the Rancho are so busy having fun. The one thing that I am going to ask is that you have a very close relationship with the
With
mic.
my microphone.
There we go. There
Very
we go.
close
So
one.
that everyone can hear you clearly and get to know what you do. So talk to me. There's so much. I feel like you do so much, and there's so many hats that you do. What are some of the spaces that you're involved in, and how did you get involved in the space of psychology, essentially?
So I think it's a very extensive background that I have.
Yeah.
So I started off in counseling psychology,
Okay.
got into it and realized I didn't want to be the therapist anymore. I think therapists see a lot of the negative ends of it, and I
Yes.
needed to find a way to positively spin that. And I ended up teaching in preschools. Found a love and a passion for it, and then got the offer to do my PGCE in foundation phase. And then somewhere in the rigmarole, Dibber found me, and they've grown me. And I think a very special thing with Dibber is they are highly inclusive. You mentioned that my son is on the spectrum.
Yes.
I'm actually on the spectrum myself as an adult. I was very lately diagnosed. So yeah, I sort of bumbled around a little bit. I've been into a lot of different spaces. Very fortunately, I've been able to work at Vescorpies. I worked in children's wards. I worked for Teddy Bear Clinic, preparing children for court. I worked for Midrand Police Station. So I've had a little bit of a different experience with children in various ways, and ended up in education. And now I develop curriculum for Dibber International South Africa.
Wow.
I love that because I've dealt with some of the organizations that she's she's mentioned, that she's obviously associated with, and I have to say, man, the work you guys do is crucial and it's important, and I've seen it make a difference real time personally. So just to shine a light on that, to say, really, as somebody who has engaged with the services of those organizations, you do make a difference.
Thank you.
I see the work that you do, and it really is making the positive change that needs to be seen in that with those specific areas of concern.
Definitely. And I come from a little bit more of a positive round. I don't work as much as I used to with Vescorpies, but I do now create space for autistic children and autistic adults, which is a big thing in my belief in how we should work and being with children in education. So for me, it goes to the teachers.
Yes.
I don't teach as much as I used to. I now am more trained teachers, but to hear the gratification and the gratitude for what we do is phenomenal.
Wow.
So, as someone who was lately diagnosed, right, there's so much taboo that surrounds the space for people who are on the spectrum, and we tend to think that they can't function well and all of these things. So what are some of the misconceptions that you've seen that are constant, when it comes to all things concerning spectrum and just that space?
Yeah, autism,
Yes.
actually, and just
ADHD and all of those things.
mental health.
Yes.
Because that can be associated.
I think for me the greatest misconception has been that a lot of people, when we meet autistics, that we're slow to the mark, and we're actually not. We're far ahead of you. We just take a little bit more to get there. Being in big spaces like this, it's an overload for me.
Yes.
So at the moment, I am presenting not my autism, but I think a lot of people misunderstand that there is a difference difference in every single autistic person that you meet. No autistic person is the same. We're on a spectrum. It's where we fit into those spaces. And I think people have this conception that autism is a disease and that it's something that can be cured. It's not. It's the brain pathways that are differently aligned, and we think differently and we see differently. It doesn't mean that I am disabled in any way, but I'm better abled in other spaces, in other ways. And it took me years to admit that I was on the spectrum. I got the diagnosis of my son first and then got mine and sort of went, what do I do with this information? And now I'm proud of it. I've had parents who have come up to me and said to me, you're so brave for telling us that you're autistic. And I'm like, but why am I brave? That's who I am. That's who I will be. And children will show you. They will show you they are there, and they're more than what we see. Another big misconception I could say in autism itself, especially with children and those who don't speak, there's this idea that they're not intelligent or they don't hold space.
Oh, yes.
And a lot of the time when my son didn't speak in the beginning, people would yell at him and think he was deaf. That was the other big thing that was, he can hear you, he can understand you, he's just not showing you the way in a verbal communication, but he will give you information in other ways as well. So I think there's a lot of knowledge lacking behind autism, and I think it's very cuffed, and you can be autistic and you can be ADHD. You can have Down syndrome and be autistic and have ADHD as well. It's a spectrum. It's not a flat line. And I think people need to come to the mark that we have space, we need space, and our space matters. And there are great people within that space that advocate for it. We've just learning how to navigate in a world that wasn't built for us at all.
So, as someone who's on the spectrum, yourself, and is a psychologist, right, yourself. So, is there a way that you found that you can now detach from, being emotional about the cases that you come through yourself and say, you know what, I'm going to put my own personal prejudices or anything of that sort to the side, and I'll solely focus on this person and make sure that I give them the help that they deserve? Or have you found that the two go hand in hand with each other and you can't necessarily detach because you yourself, as someone who has been diagnosed with being on the spectrum?
I think it's so hard because I opted not to get my practicing license after I finished graduating. But I think I sit with parents at our Dibber schools who do get diagnoses of different varieties, and each child has their own challenges in their own way. But I don't think you ever detach. I think you find solace and community in the people that you work with. I mean, when my son was diagnosed, I literally got a cancer diagnosis on the Monday, and my son was diagnosed on the Wednesday. And I think we had no one. We had our family and those that supported us, but to find my tribe has probably taken me about 4 years of people that I can communicate with. And you do get attached. I do, because I see the value in these children. I see every child is valuable. It doesn't matter. And that's what I love about the company that I work for Dibber, because our belief is, imagine if every child knew how valuable they were, and you carry that value with them regardless of who you are. We call it heart culture. We call it a way of integrating and seeing others. So no, I don't detach from it. I think I've learned to not take on too much, because being autistic, one of the big things is that we're big empaths and we carry a lot. I can pick up in a room if the vibe is off. It sounds very funny, but I can, and I pick up people's emotions, and I pick up that they're irritated, and I'll call you out on it, and I'll be like, have I done something to irritate you? Because I can feel this irritation building. So no, I don't think I detach from it. I think I grow from it, and I give those children a voice. And to be able to say to a parent, you are not alone in this, that I am here. And that's why I tell parents that I'm autistic, because I want you to see there's light at the end of the tunnel. It might have not been your journey, but it's a journey that I will walk you on. I have a fantastic tour guide. He's 7 years old, and he's taken me through this guide that I didn't even have as a child. And unfortunately, growing up in the 90s, that was the biggest thing. In the 90s, you were gifted. Boys were autistic, or boys had ADHD. And I went undiagnosed for 32 and a half years. And GPs and therapists had diagnosed me with being depressed or being bipolar or having anxiety. I wasn't having an anxiety attack. I was having a meltdown. And that's where the differences come in, is that I think it's community, and we have to start having these conversations and put a normalization on it, as normal as you can possibly be. I'm weird. I'm allowed to be weird.
Yes.
If my weird doesn't hurt you and it doesn't hurt me, allow me to be weird.
Yes, absolutely.
And that's the big misconception with autism or any spectrum or any special needs. We have space and we deserve it in that regard.
I love how you explain that.
Yeah.
You know, because we, like you say, there's so much misconceptions, and we are given so much false information, both on conventional media, TV, and social media as well. And so much exaggeration is fueled through this propaganda that we see across all these spaces.
But it's even now. I mean, we have this gentleman, this JFK, that's come out in America now, who has outright put that autistics ruin families' lives.
Really?
Autism ruins families' lives, and that these children will never do tax or they'll never play sports. It's the biggest lie that you can fold out, because my son didn't ruin my life. I didn't ruin my parents' life. It's the cards that we will dealt, and we will build through it. And if I can advocate for that, for any person in that spectrum, I've done what I need to do, and I will continue to do more, especially for nonverbal children or children that cannot speak for themselves. I will defend and I will go to war.
Yes, to the ends of the earth.
Yes, and I will. And that misinformation, especially with vaccines, especially with all of that, we don't know what causes autism. We don't know. There is no cause. Some say it's genetics, some say it's other factors, but we're never going to know. It's a splash in the pan. It happens, and it's becoming more prevalent. But I think that's what COVID did. I think COVID forced all the ADHD adults to come out, because now we were stuck at home, and you sort of sit there and go, this is not normal. I should not be there, and I'm okay with it. But we learn, and we find ways. And I might, like I said, autistics, we have our moments and we have our days, and it happens. It is what it is. I'll go home tonight and stim. I will. My brain will be overloaded. I'll be tired, but I've learned that it's okay. It's my body's way of processing in its own right.
So as someone who works in the space of neurodiversity, right? Someone is watching, is listening to us, and is not necessarily, knowledgeable or informed, and is perhaps the first time that they're hearing the term neurodiversity. What is neurodiversity? What is it involved? And how did you find yourself now getting involved with it? And how do you combine your teaching of psychology with the space of neurodiversity?
Sure, it's very difficult. I think neurodiversity is to explain how children are neurodivergent. They are differently abled in thinking.
Okay.
So neurodivergency is a spectrum. It is ADHD, it's dyslexia, it's dyspraxia. It's to do with the brain's functioning and how those neurons integrate and how they come together and form our networks and pathways.
Yes.
The way that I teach is very different, and I think because I have a child in Dibber, I've got a little bit more of a purpose and a push for it, and I think we've got to be understanding that every child learns at their own rate. We cannot fit children into a box and say, right, this is where you fit. There's nothing out of it. And I hate that schools have become that. You go to school, you learn your subject, and you leave. No.
Yeah.
With me, with Dibber, and coming into this space, what I love about them is they create this love of learning. They create this idea that I want to know more, that I want to do more, that I don't just want to count to 10. I want to find out how further I can go for 10. So my thinking in my brain with education is it's got to be individualized. It's got to meet the child where they are at, just as we meet our teachers where they are at. We need to support them to support those that they teach. So I think for me, the psychological impact of what I do is how the brain functions. How I came into neurodiversity was obviously working with Escorpies and differently abled individuals, and then having a son diagnosed with autism. That was sort of, I say to parents often, there's a very big difference in between of learning about it, working with it, and then living it. It's a very different space of it as well, and I think you build that community. I realized there was very little. They do exist, but you've got to know somebody who knows somebody to kind of find that space. So I think there are aspects of it, but it's not to say that my way is always the right way. A lot of people think that if I meet an autistic child, we're going to meet and we're going to mingle and we're going to know each other. No. You are not a lollipop. You are not everybody's favorite flavor.
Yes.
But I do have an understanding. And as a parent of an autistic child, I know what the stares feel like. I know about parents who don't understand. And if I can be that much more appealing to a child and just be on their level and hold their space for them, that's the difference my psychology has made to my life and becoming autistic in that regard.
I love this conversation because I am such a big mental health advocate, and this is an important conversation because it shines light, and I know especially in township communities and less disadvantaged communities, such awareness to these to neurodiversity in mental health is not there, and is very little, and it's also stigmatized and misunderstood, right? But from your perspective, right, as both an educator and a parent, how can schools partner with families, right, to better support neurodiverse children in these specific communities?
I think communication is the best thing that ever comes from that, and I think having a space where parents are accepted, like you hit the nail on the head on communities. A lot of different groups view autism or spectrum or neurodiversity as a punishment. It is a punishment that has been inflicted onto their families, and it's not. And I think what schools can do is they can create these spaces where parents are free to speak, and they're open and they're honest. There's a very big misconception with educators that we often sit and watch children and label them and judge them, and we don't. We are invested into the child that we educate, even the years that they go. I've been teaching for 15, 16 years. I have these kids going into matric nearly now that I've been educating and teaching, and I think you have to create a relationship where the parent feels supported. They have to be understood, and to know that I'm not going to judge you, and I'm going to listen but not judge, that whole idea. And just be a space of, here are people that deal with it. Let us speak the same language. Let us speak about it. Let me allow you to educate others, because that's been the biggest thing for me, is education around it. And that's why I'm so honest with my autism, to say that it's there, it exists. Let's speak about it in the right spaces so that those that don't understand it are comfortable with the conversation. Parents get very up, and rightly so, they get very tense when you mention that a grip is awful or anything. But it's not a place of judgment. You have until the age of 6 to assist the child and correct them. So with a speech delay, with a lisp, if you do it after 6, I'm teaching you how to deal with it, not how to maybe progress through it. That's why we advocate therapy early. If every child could go for a little bit of therapy, I would be the happiest educator in the world, because we need those skills, right? When you are stiff, you go to a physio. If you are in sport, so why can we speak about that in such open spaces, but we can't speak about therapy for children? We can say Sio Khaleesi goes to a physio and gets physio for his muscles, and he goes to a therapist for his mental and how he supports his teams. Why are we not advocating that for children that need it the most? Why aren't we creating spaces where these children have rights to be in, and they should have therapy? And I do believe medical aids should come on board as well and support. Therapies are expensive, and rightly so. You're paying for that specialist time. But what about that mom who is in a township who cannot have affordability to that? That does not mean their child is any less. And maybe with a little bit of therapy, that skill improves. Autism will never go away, but they'll learn how to cope through it and better themselves
Better manage
in
it as well.
So I know, I have my headphones here with me today. They're noise cancelers. They're not speakers. They're not Bluetooth. If I get overloaded, I put them on and I'll walk around with them. I put stickers on them for the kids when I go into our Dibber branches, and the kids ask, "What are you wearing?" And I said, "It's too loud. I need something." And they're like, "Oh, okay. It's okay if I have that one day as well." It's like wearing glasses. In the 90s, we were very teased, and now it's a fashion trend, and it's a color.
Everybody wants to be like a nerd, and because now you've been characterized as a nerd if you wear glasses.
But now it's not.
Now it's not.
It's a cool
Yes.
thing.
And
It's a
also
cool
kids
thing.
that play with fidgets and they walk around. I have one on my car keys. It's a bandy ball. It snaps. So I have those deterrents there.
Yeah.
And not deterrents to say, but it's something that I can deter away when my brain gets overloaded as
Very-
well. So to answer your question, communication is the best thing. Communication and creating space. That's what schools need to create. Not we can't deal with this difficulty. Please go find somewhere else. Because we have heard of schools letting children leave because they themselves can't help and support. And that's sad.
Very,
Yeah, sorry. That was quite insightful. Thank you for that. Do you think enough is being done, though, at policy level, right? And how can grassroots organizations and schools collaborate to create meaningful change?
No, I don't think enough is being done, and
don't
we're
think
seeing
that
it more. We're seeing it more frequently, and but there's an estimate that by 2032, 1 in every 2 child will be born with autism. So it's a high ranking rate. what I think Roots can do is they can get educators like myself into schools and underprivileged schools that will help and support and educate, where it's not, for us, it's not a money feeding idea, but it's more about a community. It's that heart culture that I spoke about earlier that we're giving in. Join with communities. There are lots of autistic schools that you can adopt a school for a day that they can come in and they can grow and they can educate. But I think education is going to be the biggest key that's going to play in that and supporting those who need the support as well.
Very, very, very cool stuff. You're probably wondering who is this lady we're in conversation with? Please, the pronunciation of your surname once again.
Air.
Air.
Like the air you breathe.
I see you.
Yeah.
So Kelly Eyre is the pedagogy lead for Dibber International. And you're probably wondering, what is Dibber? They say here, with over 600 high-quality preschools in 10 different countries, Dibber leads with international standard. Childhood is an infinitely important phase of life, and together with our Dibber parents, we lay a good foundation for our children's growth. We want you to meet generous, warm, and knowledgeable people in our preschool, and know that your child gets personalized attention and a safe space to explore, play, fail, and succeed. In this way, we contribute to all our children having an opportunity to become the best version of themselves. I love that. I love that. So someone is out here at the Rancho and wants to get in touch and wants to come and explore what Kelly has to offer as an exhibition. Where do I find you and how do I get involved?
So we are at C23 in the Mama Magic Center.
Yes.
My colleagues are there with us today. We've got 2 of our principals from our schools as well. And they can come and chat and find out how we approach education and how we approach play, because you hit the nail on the head. That is Dibber. Dibber is play. And we play holistically and we play for fun. And I had a conversation yesterday at our, we have an opportunity to speak again later today where I'll be speaking at 4 o'clock about language and language development.
Oh, wow.
So we do a lot of developing. A lot of parents have this misunderstanding with preschool. Oh, you colored today. That's what you learned at school. No. When you were coloring, I was watching how you were holding that crayon. I was watching how you were sitting. Did you cross the midline? Were you appropriate? Could you see the left and the right? So for us, come and have a conversation about your child's next 6 years.
Yeah.
I am very grateful that grade R has now become compulsory by law, which is great for preschoolers as well. Often preschool teachers were not valued, and that's very, very sad as well. It's sort of, oh, the grade 1 teacher taught you. Yeah. No, the 1 to 2 teacher helped you back there. And preschool teachers are very gifted individuals. They are very educated, which is a very big misunderstanding. And our teachers are driven by heart. They're driven by the understanding that each child is valuable, seen and heard. And that's what Dibber is for us. So definitely C23, and I'll be speaking at 4 o'clock later today and through the weekend.
Very cool stuff. If you want to learn and find out more about all of this thing, or rather all of the spaces that Kelly's involved in, particularly the Dibber International, check out them out at
C23.
C23 at the Mama Magic.
In the Mama Magic
Expo. Right here at the Rancho 2025, happening at the Johannesburg Nazareth Expo Center. I promise you will not regret it. And I fully agree with you. All of these things that we learn need to be from a foundational phase.
100%.
From early childhood development. Because like you said, that as an adult now, at a certain age, it's no longer about learning how to overcome that thing, but it's about, learning to live with it now.
And it is learning to live with it, and
Yeah.
it's being okay in that space. It's sort of, if you're a diabetic, you take insulin, and it's accepted. That's your medication.
Yes.
But when it comes to, again, mental health or any, I don't like the word disability, but any functional barrier.
Yes.
It's sort of hushed under, and you're shunned. You go to a therapist,
Swept
you go
under
to
the rug.
therapy.
Yeah.
Therapists do phenomenal jobs, and we work with these therapists within our schools. My son is one of them in it as well. And if you see the growth and development, you're in a space that you're ready to learn, and that's the importance of education.
But over and above the Rancho, how can we further find you? Across social media platforms.
So anywhere, so Instagram, Facebook, we're on LinkedIn as well. Dibber International Preschools, you'll find us at .co.za. You'll find us all linked if you type in. My articles are all there as well. Just type Kelly Eyre and it'll pop up as well. But all our information is on our website and freely available, and on our main website that I just saw you on now as well. So it's just dibber.co.za or Dibber International Preschool.
Kelly, thank you so much.
Thank you so much for
We
having
appreciate
me.
you taking your time.
Thank you, of
We
course.
always appreciate and we always look forward to learning so much, especially about all of these conversations that not enough noise is made about and not enough light is shed upon, right? And we really want to strive to be a people who break all of these misconceptions surrounding all of these things that are usually swept under the rug and considered as taboo or like, now we don't want to talk about that. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much for
taking
having
it.
me.
We appreciate
Have
you.
a
Thank
fantastic
you.
weekend.
Same with
Thanks,
you. This is what we do right here on the Vuga Breakfast Show, bringing you people who are doing amazing stuff in and around our community.